think it does. And since it's a little bit later, is everyone happy to kind of like stay like the 5 minutes extra, or do you have to run out? I'm sorry, we've started.
I sort of have to go fairly promptly,
Fairly promptly? Okay,
Yeah,
then I'll keep an eye on time. Then sorry about the late start.
It's all right.
I would like to share something with you today, a little additional practice, and then we're going to explore movements of the hip in a little bit of a different way, and maybe downward facing dog, just a different approach that's inspired by Peter Blackerby, who is an osteopath and a yoga teacher, and he's been influential to my tutors of my teacher training, and I'm just now reaching out and kind of like explore his practices delivered by himself. So that's really, for me, very interesting, and I thought I'd bring it along and offer it to you to see what you think, and give you the experience of doing something slightly differently. The other bit I'd like to share today is, because I always think yoga has so many different facets and so many elements, and it is part to knowing ourselves better, our body, and part of our body is our brain and memory. And I've been listening to Darren Brown, the illusionist, and he has there's one thing that's really stood out for me, and I thought it was a really good way of bringing it into a yoga class, and it is about how our memory works. So if I give you 8 names, 8 objects, and then you can, after I've said them, you can repeat them in your own mind and just see how many of the 8 you can recall just out in the cold. So that would be, the words are elephant, bike, caravan, flag, sugar, octopus, moon, and carrot.
You do it too quick. There's no chance. I've not had a chance to visualise them. And
yes.
Darren Brown, it's all about visualisation, so it's associating an image with that word. And if you haven't got time to associate your image with that word, you're not really.
It was a bit too. Yes, that's a very fair point. That was a bit too fast. So I will give you the image, so you're quite familiar with his work. Then I'll give you the short story, and then at the end we'll see if you can maybe all or some of you remember the words in line. So the story goes, if you can picture an elephant that is riding a bicycle, and then if you then start with a bicycle, imagining that the bicycle is pulling a caravan along, so a small bicycle with a large caravan. And then I'm going to bring my own interpretation, because I've done it with my children. On the caravan, the top of the caravan, you see a sugar-candied, cotton candy flag waving around, and that sugar is sprinkling down onto an octopus, and this octopus is receiving all this sugar floating down, and with its 8 arms starting to juggle with sugar balls. And then from there, and now I'm drifting back to Darren Brown, this octopus doesn't only have 8 arms, it also has 8 bottoms, and he is turning around and mooning you with all these 8 bottoms it has. And then as you see those 8 moons closer up, they're actually snowman faces with a carrot sticking out of each one. So now you might find it much easier to think of the 8 words and recall them in line, and that is a fantastic trick to remember your shopping lists and other things. And I shall really apply this to what time this class starts and finishes. Because ironically,
my brother can go through all the kings and queens and the dates just because of using that technology.
It's technique. And I guess that's how how actors sort of
That's amazing.
remember their lines and that.
It's
I
I
never
never facts and
understand.
figures and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, how they do that. You know, sort of an entire play, and they just.
Yes, it's because we often don't learn that anywhere, like not in school, not anywhere else, and maybe they learn they learn different memory techniques, I believe, when they're acting. But your brother is not an actor, or
no. He's just read Darren Brock's
just
book.
Right.
And I started reading it, which
and then put it to practice. Yeah, it's fascinating. Also, there's another way is to attach a memory to, like, maybe something that you're very familiar with. So, like, if you can picture really well the content of your fridge, or like, or the arrangement of your closets in your bedroom or something, and then you want to remember a shopping list, you could imagine that all the things you want to buy are actually stuffed away somewhere, and mentally stick them in those places. So just thought it might be helpful.
Very good brain to do that.
Yes.
Just to have that
little bit of
exercise.
Yes, yeah. Okay, well, I'm glad you enjoyed that one. Now it's time to rest, at least to begin with. So if you want to lie down on your backs, we're going to start with our feet up towards the buttocks. And we're going to take our time to find a position that allows for the upper body to sink into the mat, for the footprints close to your buttocks to find their place, that your legs are nicely supported. And really take your time here to make any adjustments in bringing the feet closer together or further apart, closer to the buttocks or further away, so that your legs really feel supported by your footprint on the mat. And this is now the chance to shift your own awareness from the morning you might have had, or the day that you've planned for yourself already, and know that this next hour and a half is the time for self-exploration, the time you allow yourself listening to the signals of your body, learn more about how it works, how it communicates with you, and allow your own movement story to unfold. Just as any dislikes and likes of food preferences, whether you like tea or coffee, the movements of our bodies are so individual and so different. And I'm inviting you to take what I say as suggestions and offerings and make today's practice your very own. Whilst your body is resting and releasing into the mat, take your awareness into the soundscape around us. The music gently playing in the background. Any sounds that are drifting in from the inside. Or sounds of movements from each other. And acknowledge those sounds as the soundscape. And bring your awareness into your own sounds, your internal sounds. starting to listen out for anything you can pick up internally. It might be your heartbeat, the sound of your breath. And then switch your awareness towards your breath. The way it feels today, especially lying down on the back, where the sensations occur the most, the quality of the inhalation and the exhalation. And then let's shift our awareness into the physical body, being aware of the footprint on the mat. You may like to lift just the toes of the mat to engage with the boards and sides of the feet on the mat, and then dropping the toes back down. And then I'm inviting you to allow your knees to travel towards your toes, or towards the short end of the mat, away from your hips. By pushing with your legs, allowing your knees to travel towards the feet. And I'm inviting you to observe the reaction that you might receive in your pelvis as you're exploring the movement of the knees towards your toes. Just rocking towards the toes and releasing, tracking back on the same movement. And then as you, the next time, explore that movement even further, allowing the knees to go further, and notice that the pelvis wants to lift off the mat, supported by your legs. It will start to float off the mat, and then retrace your steps. By receiving more weight in your footprints and your knees to come towards your toes, the natural reaction of our body seems to be that the pelvis is floating up. And this might feel different to the intention of lifting the pelvis off the mat. If you like to explore that in comparison, and then starting again to use your footprints and the knees to come towards the midline of the toes of your mat, so of your foot, and then rest back down. And then take a rest again, like allowing your upper body to release into the ground. And then lift your arms up towards the ceiling with your fingertips pointing straight up. And then on the next exhale, allow your hands to drop on the floor behind you with the arms bent comfortably, and the shoulders to rest. So the elbows might be bent, but allowing this space for the shoulders to sink into the ground. And take a moment here to notice now the different sensation that you're receiving. Making any adjustments at any time that feel helpful. Might still be the feet or the arms. And then allow your left arm, so your left leg to lengthen away from you and lie heavy on the mat. And your left arm to come down next to your body again. So you have your right arm somewhere above your head and your right knee pointing towards the ceiling. And here let's take a moment again for exploration, repeating the movement of sending that knee away from the hips and towards the toes, and allowing that pelvis now to move, observing the different movement and retreating, just exploring gently, and then releasing that movement, retracing your steps back down. And notice where the pelvis is going this time as you're sending the knee away. You might notice that the right side of your body, your pelvis is tilting and your right side of your body is lifting up. And as you allow that knee to travel back to its starting position, the body rolls back. And with this simple action of moving the knee towards the big toe, the remainder of the body becomes active. So if you do that a few more times, exploring how that movement of the knee is lifting up the hip, and then release back onto the mat. And then release your hip back down and your right arm to join the left. And then bring your left leg up and extend your right towards the floor. And the next inhale, lifting that left arm up and exhaling behind your head. And here we're going to explore the same movement on the other side. The knee is moving over towards the toes, towards the short end of the mat. And the intention of moving that knee further away from the hips then allows a long stretch along the left side of the body. Lifting the pelvis off the floor in a rotation, it's tilting the hips up, and then you can roll back down. Just in your own time, noticing the sensations and releasing the hip back down. Allowing the knee, better words, allowing the knee to retrace its step to the starting position, which brings the hip and the back all the way back down. And then bring your right leg back up and take your left arm back down to the sides. And check in with your footprints on the mat. And then let's move again with our legs, moving the knees towards the short end of the mat, towards the toes and away from the hips, and allowing that pelvis to float up gently towards the ceiling. And then allowing those knees to come back and the pelvis drops back down. Next we're going to inhale and take the arms up towards the ceiling with the movement of the pelvis lifting, and then exhaling, dropping the arms behind us, noticing the weight of the pelvis and the sensations in the arms and shoulder. inhale one more time, and on the exhale, allow the knees to travel back, dropping the pelvis, and take the arms down to the side behind you. And let's do that one more time with the next inhalation. Allow the knees to travel away, allowing the arms to rise up towards the ceiling, the pelvis to lift, and then the arms continue all the way down to the floor as you keep breathing and holding the pelvis up in space. Take a nice full inhalation, and on the exhalation, bring your arms again towards the ceiling and allow the knees to travel back into their starting position, dropping the pelvis on the mat, taking the arms down by your sides. And now let's take the legs out to the outer edges of the mat. And first let's take a full inhalation, and the exhalation, take your nose over to the left hand side, and then as you inhale through the center and exhaling the head and neck over to the right, inhaling through the center and then rolling your head over to the left, and one more time inhaling through the center and exhaling over to the right. Next time we're coming through the center, on the exhalation, drop your knees to the same side as your head is turning. And then inhaling through the center, the knees and the nose face the ceiling, and roll over to the opposite side. And as we're rolling through from side to side with your own length of inhalation and exhalation, we're starting next to roll onto the side and where the knees are falling, and taking the opposite arm on top, so making space for the arms to be included in the roll. But rolling with the intention of covering as much space on the mat as we can as we're going through the center. And then the next time you come to one side, you're taking your body weight further out over the edges of your mat and come onto your lower arm in semi-sitting. And we're still doing that a couple of times from side to side, waking up our back. And then next time you come to on one side, push yourself all the way up into sitting. And then find a nice position that you can sit in. We're going to move with our arms a fair amount. So if you prefer to sit on a block, then that might be a good option, or on a blanket. Otherwise, another option would be to sit on your feet or on a bolster. And then if you take your hands out to the side, jiggle your sitting bones in your chosen position and bring your attention to the back of your spine, allowing that to rise from the mat or block all the way up to the ceiling. Notice the front of your body lifting and the chest. The chin might drop a little bit, allowing the back of the spine to lengthen. And then let's inhale the arms up and exhale them down halfway, palms facing up. Inhale, bringing the palms forward. Exhale, allow the palms to face. Inhale, and on the exhale, turn the palms and take the hands all the way back. Inhaling, bringing the arms forward again, and then exhaling, taking the arms back. Inhaling, taking the arms forward, and exhaling, taking the arms back. And then let's just pause here, noticing the weight of the arms, the effort in the shoulders, and the remainder of the body. Inhale, and on the exhale, bring the arms back forward again. Inhale, taking the palms up, and exhale, bring them back down onto the ground. Give them a little shake, and then touch your fingers onto your shoulders, and we're going to start by making some circles, gentle and with consideration of the movement, starting smaller and then increasing the size of the circles, and noticing the different sensation and perhaps sounds that you might pick up from your own body. And then we're going to do the same in reverse, starting with large circles. Notice the difference between the forward rolls and the backward rolls, and then decreasing the circle, and then release the arms back down. Next, we're going to lift the arms up and let the palms face each other. And now we're going to inhale and reach the arms a little bit forward, really allowing the shoulders to take that extra half an inch or an inch, and then take it back. So let's work with it dynamically with the breath. Inhaling, move the shoulders forward, and exhale back. Inhaling, moving the arms through the shoulders forward, and exhale back. And if you like, you can take your left hand onto the rib cage to notice the movement of inhaling, noticing that the rib cage stays still, and then exhaling it back. Inhaling, reaching forward, and exhale back. And then one more forward, and exhale, release. And then give your arms a little shake, and we swap to the other side, holding the rib cage, and then inhaling, reaching forward, and exhaling back. Inhaling to reach forward, noticing the movement in the shoulder, and then taking it back. Inhale forward and exhale back. One more time, inhale forward and exhale back, and release the arms back down. Now we're going to take the movement onto the floor, but before we do that, let's have a little warm-up of the wrists, and give them a little stretch in each direction, and let's put them together in prayer with the elbows out to the side. And again, wriggle your sitting bones, reminding ourselves for a nice long spine. And then if you lower your gaze on top of the middle fingers and catch your breath, we're going to separate on the next inhalation the palms of the hands, but keeping the hands in the position that they're in, and keep breathing. And notice the effort or the heat, sensation of heat maybe rising in your lower arms. And then bring them back together and give them a little shake. And rotating the wrists in a few different sensations. And let's do that one more time. Bring them together, wriggling the spine nice and tall. Taking our gaze onto the middle fingers. And notice if now it feels a little bit differently. You might be able to lift the elbows a little bit higher, or might still be the same. Just find yourself a nice angle that feels like, your arms will be working and your wrists receiving a stretch. So inhaling, taking the hands apart, and notice the effort it takes to flex the hands and keep them in the position that they're in. Notice if you're still breathing, if your spine is still nice and long. Picking up any sensations around your wrist, and then bring them back together. And then drop the fingertips down and release. It's harder than it looks, isn't it? And now let's come on to all fours. So if you need any cushioning for your knees, then please prepare that now. And here I always like to see how my wrists feel with a little bit of body weight, and I like to take them around, the fingers around the clock. And even coming onto the knuckles and onto the fists before placing the hands to nicely support the shoulders. And then to warm up our ankles, so I've got to move a little bit forward, I'll take them like the first leg back and stretch into the toes, taking the hips a little bit towards the heels, rolling over the toes and then up from side to side into the ankle, and play with your body weight, rocking forwards and backwards as you're exploring the movement of this morning in your ankle. And then swap sides, doing the same with the other foot. Allowing the toes to receive the stretch. Throttle the intensity with your body weight, reaching towards the heels. And then bringing the toes, the knee back in. And then if you come up into high kneeling or into sitting just for a moment, because I'd quite like to show you this exploration that I have, I'm inviting you to explore. So the way that I suggest that we'll be exploring downward facing dog today is to come onto our toes, that are curling the toes under, and then first taking the hips all the way, or as far as they would like to go, towards the heels, and then the hands are reaching, like leaning, but we're only leaning into the hands, no pushing or putting much weight on it. They are there to support us not slipping away, having a nice relaxed head and neck. And then we're going to use our legs to stand up. So first we're going to lift the knees off the mat, and similar to the arm movement, it is actually a bit more challenging, only if it's a small movement. And then we're going to unfold our legs to lift the hips up. So having the knees up, and then we're going to unfold the legs, and the hips just gently lift up towards the ceiling. And the arms are there to support and to stop us from slipping, but the movement really happens in the legs. And this might be new to most of you, is that about right? And it is not, I'm not saying, I'm just saying it's a different way, and it's a nice way to learn something different perhaps about your body. So if we take that together, putting the hands down and curling the toes under, and then you're sending your hips back towards your haunches, and then allowing the head to drop, and then you can see you might need to adjust your hands, feel where the support is as like a sliding support, and then explore that lifting the knees off the mat. And then you stand up as if you're standing up from anywhere else, unfolding your legs and lifting the hips up. Beautiful. Take a couple of breaths here and then come back down onto your knees and then release the feet and come straight into a child's pose and allowing your body and your brain to absorb this different tour of the downward facing dog today. And it might be quite nice to have your fists underneath your forehead as support for your head. Taking a few breaths here. And then let's step out again, releasing the forehead, coming up onto all fours, curling those toes under, and then sending the hips back and allowing the arms to reach forward. So we are kind of resting into the arms, lifting the knees up, and then lifting the hips up all the way towards the ceiling. And then take a few full breaths here, noticing the different sensations along your back, your hips. And then drop back down in the same way, so you're taking your hips towards the heels and your knees are going to hit the floor first, and then you release the feet and travel down into a child's pose. And that might be a child's pose with supported fists for your forehead, to allow your forehead to be, or your head to rest on your hands, or the back of your hands, or the floor. But it's nice for the forehead to have a connection in this resting pose. And again, observe any sensations around your body. And then let's slowly uncurl again into all fours. And widen the legs a little bit wider. Now we're going to, sorry, I'm all full of exploration today. I would like to equally add bless you, a movement of the spine, which is very familiar. It's the cat and cow, but again from a different angle. So we have, like, nicely warmed up shoulders, and they're well supported by our hands. Now I'm inviting you to envision that your neck is more like a horse's head, and the movement of lifting your head would start in between your shoulder blades, just like a horse has a really long neck. And this is how we're going to want to lift our head. Does that make sense? Can everyone work a little bit with that? And then as you're dropping your head back down, you're allowing your head to drop, and you take your gaze towards the belly button. And you notice that if you're soft in the remainder of your body, your pelvis will curl under. And then if you start again from the space between your shoulder blades to lift your horse head up, so it's not about lifting the tip of the nose, but rather than lifting the shoulder up, and the head kind of lifts itself, and then you're rolling back down, and your eyes are looking towards the belly button. And allow that movement to naturally unfold, being an observer in your own body while you're taking yourself through these movements. By dropping the head from the shoulder space, reaching forwards towards the belly button, And then lifting the head up from in between the shoulder blades. And then release back down. And notice how this allows your spine to move when your shoulders are driving the movement, or the space between your shoulder blades. Notice how your breath is supporting your movement. And how your whole body, your whole spine is reacting. Picking up any sensations, the areas that feel beneficial of this move, the parts of the journey of this movement that bring pleasure, and the ones that feel more sticky. And then bring yourself back through into an ordinary tabletop and like into the middle of the movement, and curl your toes under. We're going to send the body weight back again, adjusting the hands to be able to lean into them, lifting the knees off the mat, and then stand up with the legs as far as they might like to go into downward facing dog. Let's take a few full breath here, and then move the feet towards the hands. Softening the leg and softening the upper body down. Allowing gravity to work on the upper body. Notice your footprint now on the mat. And then slowly build onto that footprint. Staying with the sensation of the footprint as you uncurl your body all the way into standing. And then let's come to the top of the mat. And we're going to start here with building that footprint again by lifting the toes up and dropping them back down. Again, inhaling, lifting the toes up and dropping them down. And then notice that from this footprint, the toes go back down, and from that footprint, the strength is building through the ankles, the calves, thighs and hamstrings. And that's a strong foundation up to the hips. And then notice how the sensation is shifting into lifting, your spine lengthening at the back of your body, the front. Muscles are lifting you up towards the ceiling. And then allow your arms to be either loose by your side, or if you like to rotate them outwards and bring some energy into the arms, noticing you're spreading out your fingers and allowing them to be active, but the shoulders to be heavy, allowing the neck to be nice and long, and the crown of the head to travel towards the floor. And you either close your eyes or soften your gaze when you're standing here. And then start to draw a circle with your body weight, or rocking from side to side and back to front, to notice the center of gravity, the shift in the weight that your footprints receive, and then find the one that's supporting you well today, where you feel best supported by both feet. And then let's take the arms up to the side, or to the side, and look up, and then exhale, bring them back down. And as a reminder, suggesting the breathing in and breathing out, but if that is, you can always let the sound of my voice wash over you. Inhale here, and then exhale, take the arms out to the side. Inhaling, breathe, lift, look up, and exhale, take the arms all the way down. Inhaling, taking the arms out, palms facing each other, and exhale, drop the hips into a chair. Inhaling, and exhale, turn the hands. Inhale, and on the exhale, swim the hands back behind you. Inhaling, taking the arms forward, and on the exhale, take them back. And then pause the arms here, inhaling and exhaling. You might want to visualize that you're squeezing a block behind your arms in the palm of your hands. Inhaling and exhaling, and then inhale, come all the way up, look up, and exhale, take the arms back down at the gaze with them. Inhaling, taking the arms up again, look up, and exhale, take them out to the side. Inhale them out in front of you. Exhale, turn the palms to face each other. Inhale, and then on the exhale, drop your hips to sit in your chair. Inhale, and then exhale, turn the palms away from each other. Inhale, and then exhale, take the arms behind. And here again, take a few breaths, noticing the weight of the arms, noticing the sensations in your back, the strength in your legs. And then drop the arms, inhaling, come all the way up, lengthen the legs, and exhale, take the arms all the way down. And then let's take a step back with our left foot, finding our warrior one stance, so we're bending the right leg. Inhaling, taking the arms out of the front. Exhale, take the arms, the hands parallel. Inhale, and on the exhale, turn the palms and bring the arms back. Turn the hands again, inhaling, bringing them forward, and then turning and exhaling, bringing them back. On the inhaling, turning the palms and reach forward, and on the exhale, turning the palms and reaching back. And pause the movement here again, inhaling and exhaling. Then inhale, take the arms up, look up, and exhale, take them all the way down to the side. And let's swap the legs over. Stepping the right foot forward. And then again, inhaling the arms up, forward. Exhale, turn the palms up towards the ceiling this time. Inhaling, taking the arms out to the side. And then exhale, dropping the elbows down towards your hips. Inhaling, taking the arms out to the side. And exhaling, dropping them down towards the hips. Inhaling, taking the arms out. And exhale, taking the elbows towards the hips. And pause the movement here. And sending the sensations around, or collecting the sensations around your body. You sense your 2 footprints on the mat. And the strength of your legs below your hips. And then inhale, take the arms up and look up. And exhale, take the arms all the way back down. And step the foot forward. Now let's bring it all a little bit together in a movement, including the horse and the backward dog, I call it. So if you find a nice solid foundation, let's collect our mind and attention, remembering how to, in this class today, we might like to explore lifting the legs first and then standing up with the hips in downward facing dog. Inhaling, taking the arms up and look up, and on the exhale, take the arms and fold from the hip all the way down towards the mat. And here you can inhale to either lift or lengthen your upper body, and exhale, dropping the upper body back down, and then move your feet back into either a plank or straight onto all fours, whichever suits you better. If you are in a plank, take a couple of breaths and then bring yourself back down onto all fours. And here we're going to take a nice inhale with a lift from the middle of the shoulder blades, and then exhale, dropping the head down, curling the toes under and taking the weight all the way back, lifting the knees off the mat and stand up in downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here, inhaling and exhaling. And of course, if you need to make any adjustments to the pose, then please do. Or if you need to rest in child pose or any other way, anytime, please do too. And on the next exhalation, roll back down onto your feet, release onto your knees, release the feet. Take the arms a little bit wider, and this time we're going to lift the horse head and allowing the pelvis to travel forward. Lovely. And then exhaling, lifting the pelvis back up. On the next move, and bringing ourselves all the way into child's pose. And again, it might be a good option to have the fists to support the head, and softening here. For the next couple of breaths, rotate your palms towards the ceiling. If your hands are out in front of you, and if you're using your hands to support your head, just swap fists and put the other one on top. Collect any sensations around your body, and even feedback from your breath. And then release your hands back down and come back into all fours. And then curl your toes under, take your hips all the way back, adjust your hands and lift the knees up, and then unfolding the legs, and with the strength of your legs you lift your hips towards the ceiling. Taking a few more breaths here, and then gently walk your feet towards your hands, really bending your knees to allow that movement to happen, and drop the upper body down. And then on the next inhalation, you might like to lift your upper body to lift or lengthen, and drop it back down on the next exhale. And then drop your hips as you come up. We're going through a chair pose coming up, dropping your hips and taking the arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhaling, lengthening the legs and taking the arms down. Nice. One more time-ish. Come back towards the top of the mat. And let's again be aware of the footprints and our whole posture from the way we're standing. And then start to inhale, take the arms up. And then on the exhale, take the arms down and reach down towards the floor, allowing the head to drop towards the toes, inhaling to lift or lengthen the body, and exhaling, dropping the head back down. And then we're going to walk our hands back again. It can be either through a plank or straight onto all fours, inhaling and exhaling. And then on the next inhale, curl your toes under. Exhale, dropping the hips towards the heels. Inhaling, lifting the knees up. Exhale, and then inhale, lifting the hips up towards the ceiling by unfolding the legs. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale, and on the exhale, drop your knees back down, releasing the feet, taking the hands a little bit wider, and then allowing the shoulders to glide and like the horse head to lift as the pelvis drops onto the or towards the floor, and the head lifts with a nice long back. Inhale and then exhale, taking the hips back and come into child's pose. Dropping the forehead on the mat or building a cushion with two fists for your forehead. And taking 2 full breaths, or here noticing how the breath is changing and giving your whole body a rest. Now you can switch your fists if you're supporting your head, or turning the palms up towards the ceiling. For a couple more breaths. Taking in the different sensations. Making note of your own personal preference today. And then uncurl back into all fours. I'm going to curl our toes under again and send the weight back towards the heels. Adjusting the hands and lowering the gaze onto the mat. And then lifting the knees off the mat, and then unfold the legs, allowing the hips to lift towards the ceiling. Taking a few more breaths here, inhaling and exhaling. And then walking the feet towards the hands. Leaving a little gap. Inhaling to lift or lengthen, and then exhaling, dropping the head back down. And then on the next inhale, drop your hips into a chair pose and taking the arms forward. And exhale. Inhale, turn the palms up. Exhale. And then inhale, take the arms and the gaze all the way up. And exhale, lower your gaze and taking the arms down. And shake everything out. Nice, that's been warming, right?
Yeah.
Now let's come to the back of the mat. And we're going to take the arms out to the side, and we're going to swing the left under the right to bring our hands together and see what feels good. You might want to hook your thumbs or see where you would like to go with this pose. I don't have to say much more. Lovely. And once you've got your hands wrapped up, take a moment to sense into the sensations in your shoulder and play a little bit with the angles of your elbows. And then we're going to take from here a halfway forward fold. So inhale, and on the exhale, bend from the hips and allowing your head and upper body to come forward. Notice the sensations changing in your shoulders, if at all, and then inhaling to come all the way back up. And exhale. One more time, inhale, and then exhale, allowing the upper body to drop and your arms to lead that drop. And then inhale, come all the way up. Exhale. And then unswizzle your arms and give them a little shake. And then take your arms out wide, and if you remember which one was on top, allow the other one to be.
I don't know. What did you say?
It was right under left, I think.
Was it?
Right.
I think it was left under the.
Left under right, and so no.
It should be right
under
left.
left.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, this is definitely the opposite.
And then I was
Thanks, everybody. Darren Brown didn't help me out there.
And he will do the same, like take a few breaths. Notice if your foundation is still nice and solid, your footprints and your spine, but moving the elbows a little bit with every inhalation and exhalation, up and down. And then take a nice inhalation, and on the exhalation, allowing the arms to be heavy and drop, and also the chin to come to the chest, and then come back up on the exhalation. Inhaling, and then exhaling forward, folding, and then watch out for any changes in sensation, and in the next inhale, come all the way back up. Exhale here, and then untwizzle your arms, take them out to the side and release. And then we'll turn it into a balance, but we've not done enough, like a lot of warming up of the crossing, so I don't expect you to cross your legs. You can maybe just take them over and don't go too crazy, but of course if you feel like that feels available to you, then please go ahead, don't let me stop you either. Just be aware. So let's start with the knee, like with the feet a little bit apart, and let's do this the balance together. If you do want to use the ball, then of course do that. Otherwise, let's collect our focus somewhere in front of you or on the floor. Catch your breath, notice your inhalation and exhalation, and allow that to help you. Inhale, taking the arms out to the side. And then on the exhale, swing your left under the right and find the grip that you feel comfortable with. Inhaling and exhaling, dropping the hips into a chair. And then you can either just lift your left foot, like the heel of the mat, if that is the balance enough, or if you shift your body weight all the way to the right leg, and you can lift the left leg up and over, and then keep your focus and sense around your body the sensations that you might have. You might want to make adjustments. And notice if you're still breathing, if your footprint is still secure on the mat. And on the next inhalation, lift your left leg back, stand up, and exhale, release the arms. Wonderful. And then give everything a little shake. We'll do the other side. Building our concentration, and by picking a place in front. Inhale, taking the arms out to the side. Exhaling now the right arm under the left, and adapting the arms to the position that feels comfortable. Inhaling and then exhaling, dropping the hips into a chair, and then either lift your heel up to come onto your right leg and stay there, or shift your body weight over to the left leg, and then on the next inhale allow that right leg to lift and cross over, and then notice your breath, any changes in your breathing, any changes in the position, stability of your body balancing on one footprint, and then inhale, releasing the foot back down, stand up and exhale and twizzle the arms and shake it all out. Wonderful, very nice. And now let's come back towards the floor. I'm going to do that from the back of our mats this time. And we're going to inhale the arms forward, exhaling, turning the palms up one more time, inhale, and then exhale, dropping the hips. Inhaling here again, and the exhale, turn the palms, lifting the hips and taking the hands all the way down, bending the knees. And then this time we're going to walk forwards into either dropping the knees down into all fours or into a plank position. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and then exhale, dropping the knees down, releasing the feet and taking the hips, the weight back into the heels and taking rest in child's pose. And again, you can use fists to support your forehead. Observing your breath. Any changes. And reflecting on the sensations around the body from the previous posture, but also the sensations in your mind. You might notice sensations or changes in your mental activity, in your thought pattern. And then slowly uncurl and find yourself a seat. No, find yourself we're going to go into relaxation first, but I'd like to finish with a breathing exercise, but we're going to relax first because it will be uplifting, if that's okay, to have a little energy boost before you're released. So if you want to take any additional stretches that you might crave or your body's asking for before finding all the props and blankets that you might need to put any additional clothing on, I've got pillows eye pillows if you like to cover your eyes.
Thank you. Thank you. Lovely, thanks. Thank you.
And then take any adjustments, any stretches, whatever you need to do before you can allow your body to rest and to find calmness and stillness from the support of the floor and the mat. And start to, again, reaching out for sounds around us, picking up sounds from the business conducted here in the building, sounds from outside, and allow all the sounds that you might pick up, class them as background sounds that are all taken care of, and they can remain in the background as you shift your awareness towards your own mental activity noticing which thoughts or topics might come up, even maybe sensations of emotions or moods, and allow yourself to notice them and let them equally slip into the background as your awareness moves on to your breath. If you have used any control of your breath throughout the practice, then please release your breath now and allow it to flow naturally, and observe again the inhalation and the exhalation, and the sensation that come with that around your body. And then bring your awareness once more to your physical body, resting on the mat, or the areas of your body that are connected, touching the mat, from your heels, your calves, your thighs and hips, parts of your back and arms, parts of your head, shoulders, all the areas that are connected to the mat. And equally notice the areas that have space underneath, on its sides and above, where the only connection is space or air. And notice those areas. And then bring your attention to your right toes, balls of your right foot and the heel, and then travel up in your mind's eye to the right ankle, through the lower leg into your right knee, and through your right upper leg into your right hip. And with that, notice the whole of your right leg and let it rest. Then notice the toes of your left foot, the balls of your left foot and the heel and the ankle. Travel up in your mind's eye through your lower leg up to the left knee, the upper leg into your left hip. Notice the whole of your left leg and let it rest. Notice your hips and allow them to release and rest. And notice the whole of your torso, your digestive tract, belly button, back of your spine, and let that area rest. And above your belly button, your chest, your lungs, your other organs, your ribs, and the top of your spine, and let that area rest. Let the whole torso from the hips up to your shoulders, the right and the left, soften and release into the ground. Notice your right arm, upper arm to your elbow, your lower arm to your wrist, and the whole of your right hand. Notice the whole of the right arm and let it soften and release. Notice the whole of your left arm, from your shoulder through your upper arm to your elbow, your lower arm, your wrist, and the whole of your left hand. the whole of your left arm. Notice it and let it rest. Notice your throat, front, the back, and the sides, and all that's beneath the skin, and let it rest. Find your jaw bones, your cheeks, your eyes, your eye